Settle into the Sleepy Mind channel, and tonight we will explore the sunflower. What looks like a single sunflower is not one flower at all. It is made up of hundreds, sometimes more than 1,000, individual flowers packed together into one shape. Each of those small flowers can produce its own seed, which means a single sunflower head functions as a complete reproductive system. This is why one plant can produce such a large number of seeds in a single season. The arrangement is not random, and it does not form by chance. It develops through a consistent biological pattern that controls how each part grows and functions. Once you understand this, the sunflower is no longer simple. The center of a sunflower follows a precise arrangement that allows seeds to fill space efficiently without leaving gaps. This pattern often forms interlocking spirals that repeat in predictable directions, allowing the plant to maximize the number of seeds it can produce. Each small flower opens in sequence over time, rather than all at once, which extends the period during which pollination can occur. Insects are drawn to different sections as they become active, increasing the likelihood that pollen is transferred effectively. This process continues for several days, not just a single moment. The timing is controlled by the plant's internal growth patterns and its response to environmental conditions. The result is a design that remains stable while constantly developing. In the early stages of growth, sunflower buds move throughout the day by tracking the position of the sun. This movement is caused by uneven growth along the stem, allowing the plant to face east in the morning and follow the sun as it moves across the sky. As the plant matures, this movement stops, and most sunflowers settle facing east. This orientation allows the flower to warm more quickly in the morning, which increases insect activity. Higher insect activity improves pollination and increases the number of seeds that develop. The position of the plant directly affects its reproductive success. This is a clear example of how systems and behavior are connected in plant biology. The sunflower that exists today did not begin in this form. It developed over thousands of years from wild plants that looked very different, with multiple branches and smaller flower heads. These early plants grew across North America and were shaped only by natural conditions. Over time, people began to select plants with larger seeds and more useful traits. This led to gradual changes in layout, including stronger stems and a single dominant flower head. Archaeological evidence shows that this process was already underway around 5,000 years ago. The sunflower became more predictable, more productive, and more closely connected to human life. If you enjoy listening to stories like this and want to hear more, feel free to like and subscribe, and new videos are posted each week. The sunflower that exists today did not begin in this form. It developed over thousands of years from wild plants that looked very different, with multiple branches and smaller flower heads. These early plants grew across North America and were shaped by environmental conditions such as soil, rainfall, and sunlight. They were capable of producing seeds and attracting insects, but they were not yet influenced by human selection. Their system allowed them to survive in changing conditions, spreading energy across many branches rather than concentrating it in one place. This made them resilient, but less efficient for harvesting. That balance would begin to change once people started interacting with them more directly. Over time, people began to gather sunflower seeds as a reliable source of food. Seeds could be eaten immediately or stored for later use, which made them valuable in seasonal environments. As people returned to the same areas, they began to notice differences between plants. Some produced larger seeds, while others were easier to harvest because of their layout. Without formal planning, people began to favor these traits. Seeds from these plants were more likely to be collected and replanted. This repeated process gradually influenced the characteristics of future generations. It marked the beginning of domestication. As this pattern continued, the build of the sunflower began to shift. Plants with stronger central stems became more common because they supported larger flower heads. Multiple smaller blooms began to give way to a single dominant head, concentrating seed production in one location. This made harvesting faster and more consistent. It also increased the total number of seeds that could be collected from each plant. These changes did not occur all at once, but developed gradually through repeated selection. Over many generations, the sunflower became more uniform in its form. It began to reflect human needs more clearly. Archaeological evidence provides a record of these changes. At several sites across North America, preserved sunflower remains show a clear difference between wild and early domesticated forms. Seeds found in these locations are often larger than those from wild populations, which indicates intentional selection. Some of these findings date back roughly 5,000 years, showing that domestication was already underway. Earlier remains tend to match the smaller size expected from wild plants. This distinction helps researchers understand when cultivation began. It shows that people were actively shaping the plant over long periods of time. The difference between wild and domesticated sunflowers can also be seen in how the plant uses its energy. Wild sunflowers distribute energy across multiple branches, which allows them to survive damage and continue reproducing. Domesticated sunflowers concentrate energy into a single stem and one large flower head. This increases the number of seeds produced in one place and improves efficiency for harvesting. It also makes the plant more dependent on stable growing conditions. This shift reflects a trade-off between resilience and productivity. Under human cultivation, productivity becomes the priority. Changes in seed size played an important role in this transformation. Larger seeds contain more stored energy, making them more valuable as a food source. They are also easier to handle and replant, which increases their usefulness in agriculture. Over time, consistent selection for larger seeds led to more uniform crops. This made the sunflower more predictable and easier to manage. Archaeological findings show a steady increase in seed size over time, confirming this pattern. These physical changes provide clear evidence of domestication. They show how human preferences shape the plant. Another important change involves the timing of growth. Wild sunflowers respond directly to environmental conditions, which can make their development unpredictable. Domesticated sunflowers begin to show more consistent growth cycles, which allows planting and harvesting to be planned more effectively. This predictability reduces the risk of crop failure and improves reliability. It also allows people to organize their work around the plant's life cycle. As these traits became more stable, the sunflower became easier to cultivate on a larger scale. This contributed to its continued use and spread. The relationship between sunflowers and insects became more important as the plant developed larger flower heads. A larger surface area attracts more pollinators, which increases the chances of successful seed production. As insects move between flowers, they transfer pollen, enabling fertilization. This interaction supports both the plant and the insect population. The sunflower provides a consistent source of nectar and pollen, while insects help ensure reproduction. This relationship remained essential even as the plant became domesticated. It connects the sunflower to a wider ecological system. As sunflower cultivation expanded, it became part of early agricultural process. It was no longer just gathered from the wild, but grown intentionally in managed environments. This shift represents an important stage in the development of agriculture. Plants that were once wild resources became reliable components of human food systems. The sunflower contributed to food supply, seasonal planning, and daily life. Its adaptability allowed it to grow in different conditions, which supported its spread across regions. It became a stable and useful crop. The movement of sunflower cultivation happened gradually as people carried seeds and knowledge from one place to another. Different environments influenced how the plant developed, leading to variation in size, shape, and growth patterns. Despite these differences, the core arrangement remained consistent. A strong central stem and a large flower head continued to define the plant. These traits were passed forward as cultivation expanded. The sunflower became more widely distributed and more firmly established. It was no longer limited to one region. By this stage, the sunflower had already undergone significant transformation. It had moved from a wild plant into a cultivated crop shaped by human selection. It had become more productive, more predictable, and more closely connected to human life. This sequence took place over thousands of years and involved both natural adaptation and repeated human influence. The plant continued to respond to new environments and new conditions as it spread. This ongoing process would shape its future development. It would also prepare the sunflower for its next stage as it moved beyond its original range and into the wider world. As sunflowers spread through cultivation, their appearance becomes more consistent. The tall stem, the large central head, and the dense arrangement of seeds are features that appear across different regions. This consistency reflects the steady selection of traits that make the plant easier to grow and more productive. Uniform plants are simpler to manage, harvest, and process, which increases their value in agriculture. Over time, this predictability allows sunflower cultivation to expand beyond small-scale use. It becomes part of more organized systems of planting and harvesting. These changes mark an important step in its development as a reliable crop. Even with this increasing design, the sunflower remains closely connected to the environment around it. The plant still depends on pollinators to transfer pollen and support seed production. Insects continue to move between flowers, linking cultivated fields to the surrounding landscape. This interaction supports both the plant and the insect population. The sunflower provides nectar and pollen, while insects support reproduction. This relationship remains active and necessary in both wild and cultivated forms. The plant does not function in isolation and continues to rely on these external connections. At the same time, the sunflower reflects a long process of selection that shapes how it grows and produces seeds. It no longer spreads its energy across many branches. in the same way as wild forms. Instead, it directs most of its growth into a single stem and one large flower head. This process supports higher seed production and improves harvesting efficiency. The plant becomes more predictable and more consistent across different growing conditions. These traits support its continued use and expansion. The sunflower now exists as a plant shaped by both natural systems and human influence. As seeds move into new regions, the sunflower encounters different climates, soils, and growing methods. These conditions influence how it continues to develop while maintaining its core layout. The plant adjusts to new environments without losing the features that define it. Its ability to remain stable while adapting supports its wider spread. What begins as a plant shaped by local conditions now extends into a broader range of environments. The sunflower continues to expand beyond its original range. This movement sets the foundation for how it becomes recognized across much of the world. In its wild form, the sunflower grows in open environments where sunlight is constant and competition from other plants is limited. It appears along riverbanks, across grasslands, and in areas where the soil has been disturbed. These conditions allow it to establish quickly and take advantage of available resources. The plant often branches outward, producing multiple stems that spread in different directions. Each branch carries its own smaller flower head, which allows the plant to produce seeds across several points rather than concentrating them in one place. This build supports survival in unpredictable conditions. If one part of the plant is damaged, other sections can continue to grow and reproduce. Wild sunflowers vary widely in size and shape depending on their environment. Some remain relatively short with smaller flower heads, while others grow taller and produce more branches. Soil quality, water availability, and temperature all influence how the plant develops. In areas with limited resources, growth may be reduced, while more favorable conditions support larger plants. This variation is important because it provides a range of traits that can be selected over time. Differences in seed size, plant height, and form all become potential advantages under the right conditions. These variations form the foundation for later domestication. As people interact with these plants, they begin to recognize patterns in which sunflowers are more useful. Seeds that are larger provide more food and are easier to collect. Plants with fewer branches and larger flower heads allow seeds to be gathered more efficiently. These traits are not selected intentionally in a formal way, but they are consistently favored through repeated use. When seeds are collected and replanted, the characteristics of the next generation begin to shift. Over time, this creates a steady direction of change. The plant gradually reflects the preferences of the people who rely on it. This repeated selection changes how the sunflower uses its energy. Instead of spreading growth across many branches, the plant begins to concentrate its resources into a single central stem. This makes it possible for the development of one large flower head that produces a high number of seeds in one location. The shift improves efficiency for harvesting and increases the overall yield of the plant. It also changes how the plant interacts with its environment. A taller central stem improves access to sunlight, while a larger flower head increases visibility to pollinators. These changes support both human use and natural reproduction. As these traits become more common, the sunflower becomes easier to grow and manage. plants begin to show more consistent growth patterns, which allows planting and harvesting to be planned with greater accuracy. This predictability reduces risk and supports larger-scale cultivation. It also allows the plant to be introduced into new environments with more reliable results. The sunflower becomes less dependent on unpredictable natural variation and more aligned with controlled growth. This shift marks an important step in its development as a cultivated crop. The connection between sunflower arrangement and pollination remains essential throughout this process. Larger flower heads provide more surface area for insects, increasing the chances of successful pollen transfer. As insects move between flowers, they support seed development across the entire head. This interaction continues over several days as different sections of the flower become active. The plant maintains a balance between attracting pollinators and producing seeds efficiently. This balance is one of the reasons the sunflower remains effective as both a wild plant and a cultivated crop. Over long periods of time, these combined changes shape the sunflower into a plant that is both productive and adaptable. It retains the ability to grow in a range of conditions while becoming more consistent in its design. This combination supports its continued expansion into new areas. As seeds are carried into different regions, the sunflower continues to adjust to local conditions while maintaining its core characteristics. The plant does not lose its identity as it spreads. Instead, it becomes more widely established while remaining recognizable. The sunflower does not remain confined to one region, and over time its seeds move with people into new environments. This movement happens gradually through trade, exploration, and the exchange of crops between communities. As sunflower seeds reach new areas, they encounter climates that differ in temperature, rainfall, and seasonal patterns. These conditions influence how the plant grows and how it is used. The sunflower adjusts to these differences while maintaining its core system. This balance between stability and adaptation supports its continued spread. The plant begins to establish itself beyond the landscapes where it first develops. When the sunflower appears in Europe, it is first noticed for its appearance rather than its agricultural value. The large flower head and bright color make it stand out, and it is often grown in gardens as an ornamental plant. At this stage, it is not yet treated as a major crop. Over time, attention shifts toward its practical uses, particularly the oil that can be extracted from its seeds. This change influences how the plant is cultivated and studied. Growers begin to focus on improving seed production and consistency. The sunflower starts to move from decoration into agriculture. As cultivation expands across parts of Eastern Europe, the sunflower becomes more closely integrated into farming systems. The plant responds well to the climate and soil conditions found in these regions. Growers begin selecting for traits that increase oil content and improve yield. This process leads to the development of varieties that are better suited for large-scale production. The sunflower becomes an important source of vegetable oil, supporting both local use and wider distribution. Its economic value increases as production becomes more efficient. The plant begins to play a larger role in agriculture. In these regions, the sunflower is no longer grown only for its appearance or limited use. It becomes a structured crop that is managed with greater precision. Farmers focus on planting density, timing, and harvesting methods to improve results. Selection continues to refine the plant's characteristics, leading to more uniform growth and predictable outcomes. These changes support expansion into larger agricultural systems. The sunflower becomes part of organized production rather than small-scale cultivation. Its role continues to grow as demand increases. As sunflower cultivation moves into parts of Asia, the plant encounters different agricultural systems and environmental conditions. In these regions, it is used in a variety of ways, including direct consumption of seeds and oil production. Growers respond to local climates by selecting traits that support successful growth. Differences in temperature and rainfall influence how quickly the plant develops and how much it produces. Despite these variations, the sunflower retains its defining features. The large central head and dense seed arrangement remain consistent. This makes it possible for it to be recognized and used across different regions. The spread of the sunflower is shaped not only by environmental conditions, but also by human choices. Farmers select traits based on their needs, which leads to the development of different types of sunflowers. Some are grown for oil production, while others are selected for larger seeds used as food. These differences create variation within the species while maintaining its overall layout. The plant adapts to different uses without losing its identity. This flexibility supports its continued expansion. The sunflower becomes suitable for a range of purposes. As the sunflower becomes more widely established, it takes on a broader role in agriculture. It is no longer limited to a single function, but contributes to multiple systems, including food production and oil processing. Its ability to grow in different conditions supports its presence across a wide range of regions. The plant maintains its core build while adapting to new environments and uses. This combination of consistency and flexibility supports its global presence. The sunflower becomes a familiar crop across many parts of the world. Its spread reflects a long process shaped by both natural factors and human influence. Over time, the sunflower becomes part of large-scale agricultural systems that operate across regions and countries. Its production supports trade, industry, and food supply on a much broader level. The plant continues to respond to changing conditions while maintaining the traits that define it. Its development reflects the same patterns seen earlier, where selection and adaptation work together. The sunflower remains connected to both natural systems and human use. This balance supports its continued growth as a global crop. Its presence now extends far beyond its original range. As the sunflower becomes more widely used in Europe, its value shifts from appearance to function. The oil contained within the seeds begins to attract attention because it can be extracted and used for cooking and food preparation. This change leads to a new focus on improving seed composition and yield. Growers begin selecting plants that produce seeds with higher oil content and more consistent form. Over time, this selection process refines the plant into a more efficient, oil-producing crop. The sunflower becomes part of agricultural systems that prioritize production and reliability. This shift increases its importance and encourages further expansion. In regions with favorable growing conditions, the sunflower is cultivated on a larger scale. Farmers begin to organize planting and harvesting practices to support higher yields. Selection continues to improve traits that support large-scale production, including uniform growth and predictable development. These changes allow the plant to be managed more efficiently across larger areas of land. The sunflower becomes integrated into structured farming systems rather than small plots or gardens. Its role expands as demand for oil and seeds increases. This transition marks a move toward more intensive cultivation. The development of sunflower varieties suited for oil production leads to greater consistency in seed quality. Plants are selected for traits that improve processing, including seed size and oil concentration. This makes it possible for the sunflower to be used more effectively in food process. The oil becomes an important product, contributing to cooking and food preparation in different regions. As production increases, the sunflower becomes more closely linked to economic systems. It is no longer just a plant grown for local use, but part of larger patterns of supply and demand. This connection supports its continued spread. As cultivation continues, the sunflower expands into additional regions where it adapts to different climates and soils. In some areas, shorter growing seasons require faster development, while in others, longer seasons allow for larger plants and higher yields. These differences lead to variation in how the plant is grown and managed. Growers respond by selecting traits that match local conditions, which supports successful cultivation. Despite these adaptations, the sunflower retains its defining arrangement. This consistency allows it to be recognized and used across different environments. The plant continues to spread while remaining stable in its core form. The movement of sunflower cultivation also reflects broader patterns of agricultural exchange. Seeds are shared, traded, and transported across regions, allowing the plant to reach new areas. This exchange is not limited to a single direction, but occurs through multiple pathways over time. As the sunflower enters new systems, it becomes part of local agricultural practices. Farmers incorporate it into existing crop cycles and adapt it to their needs. This integration supports its long-term presence in different regions. The sunflower becomes part of a global network of cultivated plants. As production increases, the sunflower becomes more closely tied to large-scale agriculture. It is grown in extensive fields, where planting, maintenance, and harvesting are organized to maximize efficiency. This scale of production supports the supply of oil and seeds for wider distribution. The plant's ability to produce large quantities of seeds in a single design makes it well suited for this type of farming. Its consistent growth pattern allows for predictable outcomes, which supports planning and management. These traits contribute to its continued use in large agricultural systems. The sunflower becomes a reliable crop on a broader scale. Over time, the sunflower's role expands beyond individual regions and becomes part of global agricultural systems. It contributes to food production, oil supply, and economic activity across multiple countries. The plant continues to respond to environmental conditions while maintaining the traits that define it. Its development reflects a balance between adaptation and consistency. This balance allows it to function effectively in a wide range of environments. The sunflower remains connected to both natural systems and human use. Its spread continues as it becomes established across much of the world. As sunflower cultivation continues to expand, differences in how the plant is used become more defined across regions. In some areas, the focus remains on oil production, with growers selecting plants that produce seeds with higher oil content and more consistent quality. In other regions, the emphasis shifts toward direct consumption, where larger seeds are preferred for eating. These different uses influence how the plant is grown and which traits are prioritized. Over time, this leads to the development of distinct types within the same species. Each type reflects the needs of the people growing it. This variation shows how the sunflower adapts to different purposes while maintaining its core system. The increasing demand for sunflower products leads to further improvements in cultivation methods. Farmers refine planting techniques, spacing, and timing to support higher yields. Harvesting methods also become more efficient, allowing larger areas to be managed with greater consistency. These changes support the growth of sunflower production on a wider scale. The plant fits well into organized farming systems because of its predictable layout and high seed output. Its ability to produce a large number of seeds from a single head makes it efficient for both food and oil production. This efficiency supports its continued expansion. As the sunflower becomes more established in global agriculture, it also becomes part of larger economic process. Production is no longer limited to local use, but contributes to trade between regions. Sunflower seeds and oil move through supply chains that connect farms to markets. This movement increases the plant's importance beyond individual farms or communities. It becomes part of a broader network of production and distribution. The sunflower plays a role in supporting food systems across different parts of the world. Its value continues to grow as demand increases. At the same time, the sunflower continues to respond to environmental conditions in each region where it is grown. Climate, soil, and seasonal patterns all influence how the plant develops. Growers adjust their practices to match these conditions, selecting traits that support successful growth. This ongoing process of adjustment allows the sunflower to remain productive in a wide range of environments. The plant maintains its core build while adapting to local conditions. This combination of stability and flexibility supports its long-term presence. The sunflower continues to expand without losing its defining characteristics. The spread of the sunflower reflects a long process shaped by both natural process and human decisions. It moves from a regional plant into a widely established crop through gradual expansion and continuous adaptation. Each new environment adds variation while maintaining the plant's overall identity. The sunflower becomes part of agricultural systems across multiple regions, supporting food production and oil supply. Its development shows how a plant can change over time while remaining recognizable. This balance allows it to function across different conditions and uses. The sunflower now exists as a global crop. As the sunflower becomes more widely recognized, its presence extends into landscapes that differ greatly from where it first develops. It grows in fields managed for large-scale production, as well as smaller areas where it is cultivated for local use. Its adaptability allows it to remain productive under different conditions. The plant continues to respond to both environmental factors and human influence. This ongoing interaction shapes how it is grown and how it performs. The sunflower remains active within both natural and agricultural systems. Its role continues to expand as it becomes established across much of the world. With this wider distribution, the sunflower is no longer defined by a single region or use. It becomes part of a global process where production, adaptation, and demand are all connected. The plant continues to change as it moves through different environments and agricultural practices. Its development reflects the same patterns seen throughout its history, where selection and adaptation work together. The sunflower remains both a biological system and a cultivated crop. Its form supports its continued success across a wide range of conditions. From this point forward, understanding the sunflower requires looking more closely at how it is built and how it functions at a deeper level. As sunflower cultivation becomes more established, the plant begins to take on a more defined role within agricultural systems. It is no longer introduced as a new or unfamiliar crop, but becomes a regular part of planting cycles in different regions. Farmers begin to understand how it responds to soil conditions, water availability, and seasonal changes. This knowledge allows them to improve consistency and reduce uncertainty. The sunflower becomes easier to manage as its behavior becomes more predictable. This predictability supports larger-scale planting and more reliable outcomes. The plant becomes a stable component of agricultural production. In regions where sunflower production is focused on oil, the arrangement of the seed becomes especially important. Growers select for seeds that contain higher oil concentrations, which improves efficiency during processing. This results in plants that are specifically adapted for oil production rather than general use. The sunflower becomes more specialized as different needs shape how it is cultivated. This specialization reflects a broader trend in agriculture, where crops are developed for specific purposes. The plant continues to evolve in response to these demands. Its design supports these changes without losing its overall form. At the same time, sunflower seeds remain important as a direct food source. In some regions, larger seeds are preferred for consumption because they provide more usable material and are easier to process. This results in the development of varieties that prioritize seed size over oil content. These differences show how the same plant can be adapted for multiple uses. The sunflower does not become limited to a single function. Instead, it continues to serve different roles depending on how it is grown. This flexibility supports its continued presence across different agricultural systems. As the sunflower spreads further, it becomes part of crop rotations that help maintain soil health and manage agricultural land. Farmers include it alongside other crops to balance nutrient use and reduce the impact of continuous planting. The plant's growth pattern and root process contribute to these systems in ways that support long-term productivity. This integration shows that the sunflower is not only valuable for its direct products, but also for how it fits into broader farming practices. Its role extends beyond individual harvests. It becomes part of ongoing agricultural management. The sunflower also becomes connected to sequences of processing and distribution that extend beyond the field. Seeds are transported, processed, and converted into products that move through supply chains. This connection links agricultural production to industry and commerce. The plant's value is no longer limited to the place where it is grown. It becomes part of a larger network that includes processing facilities, transportation systems, and markets. This expansion increases its importance within global systems. The sunflower supports both local and wider economic activity. As production increases across multiple regions, differences in climate and environment continue to shape how the sunflower is grown. Some areas support rapid growth due to longer seasons and consistent rainfall, while others require more careful management to maintain yields. These differences lead to variation in farming practices and plant development. Growers adjust planting times, spacing, and selection methods to match local conditions. This adaptability allows the sunflower to remain productive across a wide range of environments. The plant continues to respond to both natural and human influences. This ongoing adjustment supports its continued spread. Over time, the sunflower becomes a familiar presence across agricultural landscapes in many parts of the world. It is recognized not only for its appearance, but for its role in food and oil production. Its layout remains consistent, allowing it to be easily identified, even as it adapts to different conditions. The plant continues to produce large numbers of seeds through the same biological process established earlier in its development. This consistency supports its reliability across different regions. The sunflower becomes part of the standard range of crops grown in many agricultural systems. The widespread presence of the sunflower reflects a long process of movement, adaptation, and selection. It begins as a plant shaped by local conditions and gradually expands into a crop with global reach. Each region influences how it is grown, while the plant maintains the features that define it. This balance between change and consistency allows it to function across different environments. The sunflower becomes both adaptable and recognizable at the same time. Its development continues as it responds to new conditions and uses. The plant remains active within a global system that continues to evolve. When most people look at a sunflower, they see a single flower, but the build is very different from what it appears to be. The sunflower is a collection of many small flowers grouped together into one head. This type of form is known as a composite pattern, where multiple units function as a single system. Each small flower plays a specific role in reproduction and seed development. The outer edge consists of petal-like structures that attract attention and draw in insects. The center contains the parts that produce seeds. This arrangement allows the plant to combine visibility with efficient reproduction. It is one of the reasons the sunflower is so effective. The outer structures are often mistaken for petals, but they are actually individual flowers that do not produce seeds. Their primary role is to attract pollinators by creating a strong visual signal. The bright yellow color increases visibility against surrounding vegetation. This makes it easier for insects to locate the plant. Once insects are drawn in, they move toward the center where the seed-producing flowers are located. This separation of function allows the plant to use different parts of its arrangement for different tasks. Attraction and reproduction are handled in the same space, but through different components. This design improves efficiency. At the center of the sunflower, each small flower develops over time rather than all at once. These flowers open in a sequence that moves across the surface of the head. This sequence allows the plant to extend the period during which pollination can occur. Instead of relying on a single moment, the sunflower remains active for several days. Insects visit different sections as they become ready, increasing the chances of successful pollen transfer. Each flower can produce a seed once pollination occurs. This process results in the dense arrangement of seeds that fill the center. The pattern supports both timing and efficiency. The arrangement of seeds within the sunflower follows a consistent pattern that allows space to be used efficiently. Seeds are positioned in spirals that move in different directions across the head. This pattern reduces gaps and allows a large number of seeds to fit into a limited area. It is not created by chance, but by growth processes that respond to physical constraints. As new seeds form, they are placed in positions that maintain spacing and balance. This results in the structured appearance seen when looking closely at the center. The pattern reflects how the plant manages growth at a small scale. It shows how organization supports function. The stem of the sunflower plays a central role in supporting the entire way it forms. It must be strong enough to hold the weight of the large flower head, while also transporting water and nutrients from the soil. The height of the stem allows the plant to access sunlight above surrounding vegetation. This positioning improves energy capture and supports growth. The internal process of the stem is designed to maintain strength while allowing movement. Slight flexibility helps the plant respond to wind without breaking. This combination of strength and flexibility supports stability. The stem connects all parts of the plant into a single system. Leaves also contribute to how the sunflower functions by capturing sunlight and supporting energy production. They are arranged along the stem in positions that maximize exposure to light. Each leaf plays a role in converting sunlight into energy through photosynthesis. This energy supports growth, seed development, and overall plant function. The size and shape of the leaves allow them to capture light efficiently without blocking each other. This arrangement supports consistent energy production throughout the plant. Leaves remain active throughout most of the growth cycle. They provide the energy needed for all other processes. The root process anchors the sunflower in the soil and supports the uptake of water and nutrients. Roots extend downward and outward, allowing the plant to access resources from different depths. This helps support growth in a range of soil conditions. A strong root system helps stabilize the plant, especially as the flower head increases in size and weight. It also allows the plant to continue functioning during periods of limited water availability. The roots connect the plant to its environment in a direct way. They provide the foundation for everything that happens above the ground. Without this system, the plant cannot maintain its layout or function. All of these components work together as a single process. The roots supply water and nutrients, the leaves produce energy, the stem supports build and transport, and the flower head manages reproduction. Each part depends on the others to function correctly. The sunflower is not defined by one feature, but by how all parts operate together. This coordination allows the plant to grow, reproduce, and respond to its environment. It also explains why the sunflower is both simple in appearance and complex in function. Understanding this form provides a clearer view of how the plant operates. It shows that the sunflower is a coordinated biological system rather than a single isolated feature. In addition to its visible arrangement, the sunflower also relies on internal transport processes that move water, nutrients, and energy throughout the plant. These systems operate continuously, connecting the roots, stem, leaves, and flower head. Water absorbed from the soil travels upward through the stem to support growth and maintain design. Nutrients dissolved in that water are delivered to different parts of the plant where they are needed. At the same time, energy produced in the leaves moves toward areas of active development, including the flower head and seeds. This movement allows the plant to function as a coordinated system rather than separate parts. Each section depends on this internal flow to remain active and stable. The timing of flower development within the sunflower head is controlled by growth patterns that respond to both internal signals and external conditions. Each small flower does not open randomly, but follows a sequence that spreads across the surface. This sequence ensures that pollination opportunities are extended over time rather than concentrated in a single moment. As one section completes its cycle, another becomes active, maintaining continuous interaction with pollinators. This timing increases the overall efficiency of seed production. It also reduces the risk of failure due to short-term changes in weather or insect activity. The plant maintains a steady process rather than relying on a single event. The surface of the sunflower head provides a stable platform for pollinators to land and move across. Its size and system allow insects to access multiple flowers during a single visit. As insects move from one small flower to another, pollen is transferred across the head. This movement supports fertilization across a large number of individual flowers within the same layout. The design reduces the need for insects to travel between separate plants for every transfer. This increases the chances of successful reproduction. The sunflower creates an efficient interaction between plant and insect. This efficiency supports high seed output. The physical arrangement of the sunflower head also supports even distribution of resources during seed development. As seeds begin to form, they compete for energy and nutrients supplied by the plant. The structured pattern allows these resources to be distributed in a balanced way. This helps maintain consistent seed size and reduces irregular development. Each seed occupies a position that supports its growth without interfering with others. This organization improves the overall quality of the seed head. It also supports the plant's ability to produce large numbers of viable seeds. The pattern is directly linked to function. Environmental conditions continue to influence how the sunflower develops at every stage. Temperature affects the rate of growth, while sunlight influences energy production and orientation. Water availability impacts both build and seed formation. The plant responds to these conditions through changes in growth patterns and resource use. These responses allow it to adjust without losing its overall form. The sunflower maintains stability while adapting to its surroundings. This ability supports consistent performance across different environments. It remains responsive rather than fixed. The relationship between arrangement and function becomes clearer when looking at how all parts of the plant operate together. The roots supply water and nutrients, the leaves produce energy, and the stem connects and supports the process. The flower head manages reproduction through coordinated timing and design. None of these components operate independently. Each one depends on the others to maintain overall function. This coordination allows the plant to grow efficiently and produce a large number of seeds. The sunflower operates as a unified system rather than a collection of separate parts. This integration is key to its success. Different sunflower varieties show variation in size, shape, and growth patterns, but the underlying process remains consistent. Some plants grow taller, while others remain shorter, depending on environmental conditions and selection. The size of the flower head can also vary, affecting how many seeds are produced. Despite these differences, the same basic system is present in all cases. The arrangement of small flowers, the role of the stem, and the function of the leaves remain the same. This consistency allows the sunflower to adapt while maintaining its identity. It supports both diversity and stability within the species. Understanding the layout of the sunflower provides a foundation for looking more closely at how it grows over time. The plant does not remain static after it shapes, but continues to change as it develops from seed to maturity. Each stage involves shifts in build, energy use, and interaction with the environment. These changes follow a sequence that supports both growth and reproduction. The sunflower moves through these stages in a way that reflects both its biology and the conditions around it. This progression shows how form supports development. It leads directly into how the plant changes throughout its life cycle. Beyond its visible arrangement, the sunflower also operates through internal chemical sequences that control growth, timing, and response to the environment. These processes rely on signaling systems that move through the plant and influence how different parts develop. When conditions change, such as shifts in light or temperature, the plant adjusts its growth patterns accordingly. These adjustments are not random, but follow regulated responses that help maintain stability. The plant balances growth, energy use, and reproduction based on available resources. This coordination allows it to continue functioning under varying conditions. The sunflower responds actively rather than remaining fixed. The surface of the sunflower head is not only organized for seed placement, but also supports the orderly development of each individual flower. As new flowers form, they are positioned in a way that prevents overcrowding, while still allowing a high number to fit within the available space. This positioning ensures that each flower has access to the resources it needs to develop. It also supports even exposure to pollinators moving across the surface. The arrangement reduces competition between neighboring flowers. This results in more consistent development across the entire head. The design directly supports the plant's reproductive success. As seeds begin to form, the plant directs energy toward the flower head to support their development. This requires a steady supply of nutrients and energy produced by the leaves. The plant must balance this demand with the need to maintain its system and continue absorbing resources. If conditions are favorable, seed development proceeds efficiently and results in a large number of mature seeds. If conditions are limited, the plant adjusts by reducing growth in certain areas. This flexibility allows it to complete its life cycle even under less ideal conditions. The sunflower manages resources in a way that supports survival and reproduction. The outer part of the sunflower head continues to play a role even after pollination begins. Its presence maintains visibility and continues to attract insects during the period when flowers are still opening. This ensures that pollination can continue as new sections become active. The plant does not rely on a single moment of attraction, but maintains its ability to draw in pollinators over time. This extended interaction increases the likelihood that more seeds will develop successfully. The sunflower uses both layout and timing to support this process. It maintains consistency throughout the development period. The balance between growth and stability is also reflected in how the sunflower supports the increasing weight of the developing seeds. As the flower head becomes heavier, the stem must continue to provide support without failing. The plant reinforces its build through internal strength and controlled growth. This makes it possible for it to maintain its upright position while supporting a large mass at the top. The ability to manage this weight is essential for successful seed development. If the plant collapses, seed production can be reduced or lost. Structural strength remains important throughout the life cycle. The interaction between the sunflower and its environment continues at every level of its form. Light exposure influences leaf activity and energy production, while soil conditions affect nutrient availability. Temperature plays a role in how quickly the plant develops and how efficiently it produces seeds. The plant responds to all of these factors through adjustments in growth and resource use. These responses allow it to remain active and productive across different environments. The sunflower does not operate independently from its surroundings. It is shaped continuously by external conditions. Different sunflower varieties express these same structural and functional patterns in slightly different ways. Some develop larger flower heads, while others produce smaller but more numerous seeds. Plant height, leaf size, and growth rate can also vary depending on selection and environment. These variations show how the same underlying system can produce different outcomes. Despite these differences, the core arrangement remains consistent. The sunflower retains its identity even as it adapts. This balance between variation and consistency supports its wide range of uses. The design of the sunflower explains how it is able to produce such a large number of seeds while maintaining stability and efficiency. Each part of the plant contributes to this outcome through a coordinated process of growth, energy use, and reproduction. The plant does not rely on a single feature, but on the interaction of all its components. This interaction allows it to function effectively across different conditions. It also explains why the sunflower has been so successful as both a wild plant and a cultivated crop. Understanding this system provides a complete view of how the plant operates. It forms the basis for understanding how the sunflower changes over time as it grows and develops. The life cycle of a sunflower begins with a single seed placed into the soil, where it remains inactive until conditions support growth. Moisture, temperature, and oxygen work together to trigger germination, which is the process that starts development. As the seed absorbs water, it begins to expand, and internal activity increases. The outer covering softens, allowing the first root to emerge and move downward into the soil. This root anchors the plant and begins absorbing water and nutrients. At the same time, a shoot begins to move upward toward the surface. These two directions establish the basic layout of the plant from the beginning. As the shoot reaches the surface, it begins to form the first leaves, which allow the plant to start producing its own energy. These early leaves are simple but essential, as they capture sunlight and begin the process of photosynthesis. Energy produced in the leaves supports further growth and development. The plant continues to extend both upward and downward, strengthening its stem and expanding its root process. Each new leaf increases the plant's ability to produce energy. Growth becomes more rapid as these systems become established. The sunflower transitions from a seed-dependent stage to an actively growing plant. During this stage, the plant focuses on building its build, including the stem and leaves that will support later development. The stem grows taller and thicker, allowing it to support the weight of the future flower head. Leaves develop along the stem, in positions that maximize light exposure. The root process expands to access water and nutrients from a wider area of soil. This combination of growth above and below the ground supports stability and energy production. The plant becomes more resilient as these systems strengthen. Each part contributes to preparing the sunflower for the next stage. As the plant continues to grow, it begins to shape a developing flower head at the top of the stem. This stage marks a shift from structural growth to reproductive preparation. The developing head is initially small and enclosed, protected as it forms. Inside this form, the small individual flowers begin to develop. The plant directs energy toward this area, supporting its growth and complexity. The stem must continue to strengthen to support the increasing weight. This stage represents the transition from growth to reproduction. The sunflower prepares to produce seeds. In the earlier part of this development, the sunflower bud responds to sunlight by moving throughout the day. This movement allows the plant to maximize light exposure, which supports energy production. The bud faces east in the morning and gradually follows the sun as it moves across the sky. This motion is driven by differences in growth on different sides of the stem. As the plant matures, this movement slows and eventually stops. The flower head settles into a fixed position, often facing east. This orientation supports warming in the morning and increased insect activity. Once the flower head opens, the individual flowers within it begin their sequence of development. These flowers do not all open at the same time, but follow a pattern across the surface. This timing allows pollination to occur over several days. Insects visit the flower head repeatedly, moving across different sections as they become active. This interaction supports the transfer of pollen and the development of seeds. Each successful pollination leads to the formation of a seed within the head. The plant maintains this process steadily rather than relying on a single moment. This increases the chances of successful reproduction. As seeds develop, the plant directs energy and nutrients toward the flower head to support their growth. Leaves continue producing energy, while the roots supply water and nutrients from the soil. The stem maintains its role as a support and transport system. All parts of the plant work together during this stage. The flower head increases in size and weight as seeds mature. The plant must remain stable to support this growth. This stage represents the peak of the sunflower's development. As the seeds reach maturity, the plant begins to slow its active growth. Leaves may begin to lose function, and energy production decreases. The focus shifts toward completing seed development. The flower head becomes heavier, and the seeds reach their final form. At this point, the sunflower has completed its primary purpose, which is reproduction. The seeds are now capable of continuing the life cycle if they reach suitable conditions. The plant transitions from active growth to completion. This marks the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. As the sunflower continues through its growth cycle, the balance between energy production and resource use becomes more important. The plant must maintain enough leaf activity to support the developing seeds, while also managing water and nutrient supply from the soil. If conditions remain stable, this balance allows seeds to develop fully and reach a consistent size. If conditions change, the plant adjusts by slowing certain processes or reducing growth in less critical areas. This flexibility helps ensure that at least part of the seed head can mature successfully. The sunflower does not rely on perfect conditions to complete its cycle. It responds to changes while maintaining its primary function. During the later stages of development, the flower head becomes more stable in its arrangement as the seeds approach maturity. The outer structures begin to lose their role in attracting insects as fewer flowers remain active. At this point, most pollination has already occurred, and the plant focuses on completing seed formation. The internal processes shift towards strengthening and finalizing each seed. The plant continues to supply nutrients until development is complete. This stage represents the final phase of active growth. The sunflower prepares to complete its life cycle. As the plant reaches full maturity, visible changes begin to appear in its design. Leaves may start to dry, and the green color of the plant gradually fades. The stem remains upright, continuing to support the weight of the flower head. The seeds inside the head reach their final form and become ready for dispersal. At this point, the plant has completed its reproductive function. The remaining system supports the final stage of the cycle. The sunflower shifts from growth into completion. Its role transitions from development to continuation through seeds. The dispersal of seeds allows the life cycle to continue beyond the original plant. Seeds may fall naturally to the ground or be carried by animals, wind, or human activity. Each seed contains the potential to begin the cycle again under the right conditions. The success of this sequence depends on where the seeds land and whether the environment supports growth. This stage connects one generation to the next. The sunflower does not continue as the same plant, but through the seeds it produces. This process ensures the continuation of the species. In agricultural sequences, this stage is often managed through harvesting rather than natural dispersal. Seeds are collected and processed for use as food, oil, or planting material. This changes how the life cycle is completed, as human intervention replaces natural distribution. The plant is grown, harvested, and replanted in controlled conditions. This makes it possible for consistent production and repeated cycles of growth. The sunflower becomes part of a managed system rather than relying entirely on natural processes. This difference reflects the role of human influence in modern agriculture. The life cycle remains the same, but the outcome is directed. The timing of each stage in the sunflower's development is influenced by environmental conditions. Temperature, sunlight, and water availability all affect how quickly the plant moves from one stage to the next. In warmer conditions, growth may occur more rapidly, while cooler environments can slow development. These differences lead to variation in how long the life cycle takes. Growers adjust planting times to match these conditions and achieve the best results. This interaction between environment and development remains consistent across regions. The sunflower responds to its surroundings at every stage. The complete life cycle of the sunflower shows how each stage connects to the next in a continuous process. From seed to growth, from flowering to seed production, each phase supports the overall function of the plant. The layout established early in development supports later stages of reproduction. Energy production, resource management, and environmental response all work together throughout the cycle. The sunflower does not move randomly through these stages. It follows a sequence that supports both survival and reproduction. This sequence defines how the plant exists over time. Understanding this cycle provides a clear view of how the sunflower develops and completes its purpose. Each stage reflects the interaction between build, function, and environment. The plant grows, reproduces, and produces seeds that allow the cycle to continue. This process connects individual plants across generations. It also links the sunflower to the process in which it grows, whether natural or agricultural. The life cycle is not separate from its surroundings. It is shaped by the conditions in which it occurs. This connection leads into the broader role the sunflower plays within ecosystems and its interactions with other living organisms. The sunflower does not exist in isolation, but functions as part of a larger system that includes insects, animals, and surrounding plant life. Its form and timing are closely connected to the behavior of pollinators, which play a central role in reproduction. As the flower head develops, it produces nectar and pollen that attract a wide range of insects. These insects are not drawn randomly, but respond to color, scent, and the availability of food. The bright yellow outer structures increase visibility, while the center provides access to resources. This combination creates a strong attraction signal. The sunflower becomes a point of activity within its environment. Bees are among the most frequent visitors to sunflower plants, and their behavior supports efficient pollination. As they move across the surface of the flower head, they come into contact with multiple individual flowers. Pollen attaches to their bodies and is transferred between flowers as they continue to move. This repeated movement increases the likelihood that fertilization will occur. The arrangement of the sunflower supports this behavior by allowing bees to move easily across the surface. Each visit contributes to seed development. The interaction between plant and insect is direct and continuous. This relationship supports the plant's reproductive success. Other insects also interact with the sunflower in different ways. Some are drawn to nectar and contribute to pollination, while others feed on plant material or developing seeds. These interactions can have both positive and negative effects on the plant. Pollinators support reproduction, while certain insects can reduce seed quality or damage the plant's design. The sunflower exists within this balance of interaction. It does not control which insects arrive, but responds to their presence. This creates a system where multiple species influence the outcome. The plant remains part of a broader ecological network. The timing of flower development plays an important role in how these interactions occur. Because individual flowers open in sequence, the sunflower provides a consistent source of nectar and pollen over several days. This extended availability encourages repeated visits from pollinators. Insects return to the same plant as new sections become active. This increases the efficiency of pollen transfer across the flower head. The plant maintains a steady level of activity rather than a single peak. This pattern supports reliable seed production. Timing and system work together to support this process. The presence of sunflowers can also influence the surrounding environment by attracting insects into an area. In agricultural settings, this can support pollination not only for sunflowers, but for nearby plants as well. The sunflower acts as a resource that draws in pollinators, increasing overall insect activity. This can benefit other crops that depend on similar interactions. At the same time, it can also attract insects that feed on plants, which introduces additional challenges. The sunflower contributes to both positive and negative effects within its environment. Its role is not isolated to a single outcome. In addition to insects, birds and small animals interact with the sunflower, particularly during the later stages of seed development. As seeds mature, they become a food source for various species. Birds may feed directly from the flower head, removing seeds before they are dispersed. Other animals may collect seeds from the ground after they fall. This interaction contributes to seed movement and dispersal across different areas. It also reduces the number of seeds that remain available for growth in the original location. The sunflower becomes part of a food network that extends beyond pollination. The plant's relationship with soil and microorganisms also plays a role in its development. Roots interact with the surrounding soil environment, where microorganisms influence nutrient availability. These interactions support the plant's ability to absorb essential resources. The condition of the soil affects how well the sunflower can grow and produce seeds. This connection extends below the surface and is not immediately visible. The plant depends on these interactions for stability and function. It remains connected to its environment at multiple levels. The sunflower's role within its ecosystem reflects a balance between cooperation and competition. It provides resources to pollinators and animals, while also competing with other plants for light, water, and nutrients. Its height and layout allow it to access sunlight effectively, giving it an advantage in open environments. At the same time, it must maintain access to soil resources to support its growth. These competing demands shape how the plant develops. The sunflower responds by balancing its internal processes with external conditions. This balance allows it to remain active within its environment. Through these interactions, the sunflower becomes part of a dynamic process that extends beyond the individual plant. Its presence influences insects, animals, and surrounding vegetation. In return, these elements influence how the sunflower grows and reproduces. The plant does not function independently, but as part of a network of relationships. This network changes depending on location, conditions, and species present. The sunflower adapts within this system while maintaining its build and function. Understanding these interactions provides a clearer view of its role in the environment. Not all insect interactions support the sunflower, and some species feed directly on the plant or its developing seeds. Certain insects lay eggs on the plant, and when those eggs hatch, the larvae feed on internal tissues or seeds. This can reduce seed quality and overall yield. Damage may occur within the stem, the leaves, or the flower head depending on the species involved. The plant does not have a way to prevent all of these interactions. Instead, it exists within a system where some loss is expected. The presence of these insects is part of the broader ecological balance. The sunflower continues to function despite this pressure. The impact of these insects depends on their population and timing. A small number of feeding insects may have little effect on the plant, while larger populations can cause noticeable damage. If feeding occurs during early development, the plant may be able to recover. If it occurs during seed formation, the impact can be greater. This timing determines how much of the seed head remains usable. Farmers monitor these patterns to reduce potential losses. The plant itself responds through structural and chemical defenses, but these responses are limited. It remains part of an active system where interactions cannot be fully controlled. In addition to insects, The sunflower is affected by diseases that develop under certain environmental conditions. Fungal organisms can grow on plant tissues when moisture levels are high and air movement is limited. These conditions allow diseases to spread across leaves, stems, or flower heads. Infected areas may weaken, reducing the plant's ability to transport nutrients and support seed development. The impact depends on how early the disease appears and how severe it becomes. Some plants are more resistant than others, depending on their genetic traits. These differences influence how well the plant can continue to function under stress. Environmental conditions play a major role in determining how both insects and diseases affect the sunflower. Warm temperatures and moisture can support rapid growth of both the plant and the organisms that interact with it. Dry conditions may reduce some disease pressure, but can also limit plant growth. The sunflower responds to these conditions by adjusting how it uses available resources. This response helps maintain function even when conditions are not ideal. The plant does not exist in a stable environment, but in one that is constantly changing. Its ability to respond supports its survival. The sunflower also interacts with beneficial insects beyond pollinators. Some insects feed on other insects that would otherwise damage the plant. These relationships help reduce pest pressure without direct involvement from the plant itself. The presence of these beneficial species depends on the surrounding environment and the diversity of organisms present. This creates another layer of interaction within the system. The sunflower benefits indirectly from these relationships. It becomes part of a network where different species influence one another. The balance between beneficial and harmful interactions shapes how the sunflower performs in its environment. No single factor determines success or failure. Instead, the outcome depends on how these interactions combine over time. The plant must manage energy production, growth, and reproduction while responding to these pressures. This creates a dynamic process where conditions can shift throughout the life cycle. The sunflower remains active within this system rather than controlling it. Its ability to function within these conditions supports its continued presence. In agricultural settings, these interactions are often managed to improve consistency and reduce losses. Farmers monitor insect activity and environmental conditions to decide when action is needed. This may include adjusting planting times or using targeted methods to reduce pest populations. The goal is not to remove all interaction, but to maintain balance. The sunflower continues to rely on pollinators while limiting damage from harmful species. This management reflects an understanding of the plant's role within a larger system. It supports stable production while maintaining ecological connections. The ecological role of the sunflower extends beyond a single interaction or process. It functions as part of a network that includes plants, insects, animals, and environmental conditions. Each of these elements contributes to how the plant grows and reproduces. The sunflower does not operate independently, but responds to this network at every stage. Its form and timing support these interactions while maintaining its core function. This relationship defines its role within the environment. It remains part of a system that continues to change. The sunflower becomes part of organized agriculture because of how efficiently it produces seeds and how adaptable it is to different environments. Farmers grow it in open fields, where sunlight is consistent and soil conditions support steady development. The plant responds well to these conditions, producing a large flower head that contains a high number of seeds. This makes it useful for both food and oil production. Its arrangement allows for relatively simple management compared to more complex crops. Over time, it becomes a regular part of farming systems in many regions. The sunflower fits into agricultural patterns where consistency and yield are important. Planting begins with selecting seeds that match the intended use, whether for oil production or direct consumption. Farmers prepare the soil to support root development and ensure that water can move effectively through it. Seeds are placed at a depth that allows them to access moisture while still reaching the surface during germination. Spacing between plants is also important, as it affects how much sunlight each plant receives and how well air moves through the field. These factors influence growth, disease risk, and overall yield. The goal is to create conditions that support uniform development. This results in more predictable results at harvest. As the plants grow, farmers monitor conditions such as soil moisture, temperature, and plant health. Irrigation may be used in areas where rainfall is not sufficient, while other regions rely on natural precipitation. Nutrients in the soil must be balanced to support growth without causing stress to the plant. Too little can limit development, while too much can create imbalance. Farmers adjust their approach based on local conditions and the needs of the crop. This ongoing management supports steady growth. The sunflower responds to these conditions throughout its life cycle. Weeds and competing plants can affect sunflower growth by reducing access to light, water, and nutrients. Farmers manage these competing plants to reduce their impact. This can involve mechanical removal or other methods that limit competition. Maintaining a clear growing space allows the sunflower to develop without unnecessary stress. This improves both plant health and seed production. Managing competition is an important part of maintaining consistent yields. The sunflower performs best when resources are available without interference. As the sunflower reaches maturity, attention shifts toward harvesting. The timing of harvest affects both seed quality and storage. If harvested too early, seeds may not be fully developed. If harvested too late, seeds may be lost due to environmental factors or animal activity. Farmers monitor the condition of the flower head and seeds to determine the right moment. Once ready, the plants are harvested and seeds are separated from the head. This process must be done carefully to maintain seed quality. Proper timing supports better outcomes. After harvesting, sunflower seeds move into processing that determine how they will be used. Seeds intended for oil production are cleaned and prepared for extraction. The oil is removed through mechanical or chemical processes that separate it from the rest of the seed. This oil is then refined and used in food production or other applications. Seeds used for direct consumption are processed differently, often cleaned and prepared for packaging. These different pathways reflect how the same plant can serve multiple purposes. Processing connects the plant to broader systems of use. The oil produced from sunflower seeds is widely used because of its properties and availability. It is used in cooking and food preparation across many regions. Its composition makes it suitable for different types of use, depending on how it is processed. This demand supports large-scale cultivation of sunflower crops, As production increases, the plant becomes part of global supply system. These systems connect farms to markets through transportation and distribution networks. The sunflower contributes to food systems on a wide scale. Despite these differences, the sunflower remains a reliable crop across many regions of the world, supporting food production and agricultural systems on a large scale. In addition to food and oil, sunflower products are used in other ways. The remaining material after oil extraction can be used as animal feed, providing a source of nutrients. This makes it possible for more of the plant to be used rather than discarded. The sunflower becomes part of a process where different outputs are used efficiently. This increases its value within agricultural production. The plant contributes to multiple areas within food systems. Its usefulness extends beyond a single purpose. As sunflower farming continues, improvements in cultivation and processing methods increase efficiency and consistency. Farmers and producers refine techniques to support better yields and reduce losses. These improvements build on the plant's natural characteristics. The sunflower continues to respond to both environmental conditions and human management. This ongoing development supports its role in agriculture. The plant remains active within systems that continue to evolve. Its place in farming reflects both its design and its adaptability. The role of the sunflower within agriculture shows how a plant can move from a wild species into a structured crop that supports large-scale process. It becomes part of food production, economic activity, and resource management. The plant maintains its core system while being shaped by cultivation practices. This combination allows it to function across different regions and uses. The sunflower remains connected to both natural systems and human influence. Its development continues as it is grown and used in new ways. This ongoing process reflects how agriculture evolves over time. As sunflower production expands, the use of machinery becomes an important part of how the crop is managed. Large fields require efficient planting and harvesting methods to maintain consistency across wide areas. Equipment is used to place seeds at uniform depth and spacing, which supports even growth throughout the field. During harvesting, machines remove the flower heads and separate the seeds in a controlled process. This reduces loss and improves efficiency compared to manual methods. The use of machinery allows sunflower farming to operate on a larger scale. It supports the transition from small-scale cultivation to organized production. Storage becomes an important step after harvesting, as seeds must be kept in conditions that preserve their quality. Moisture levels, temperature, and air movement all affect how well seeds can be stored over time. If conditions are not controlled, seeds may degrade or lose their value. Proper storage helps maintain the usability of seeds for both processing and future planting. This step connects production to long-term use. It ensures that the effort invested in growing the crop is not lost after harvest. The sunflower remains part of a system that extends beyond the field. In regions where sunflower farming is well established, production processes are often designed to maximize efficiency while maintaining stability. Crop rotation is used to manage soil health and reduce the impact of repeated planting. By alternating sunflower with other crops, farmers can maintain nutrient balance and reduce the risk of soil depletion. This practice supports long-term productivity. It also reduces pressure from pests and diseases that may build up when the same crop is grown continuously. The sunflower fits well into these systems because of its growth pattern and resource use. It contributes to sustainable farming practices. Water management continues to play a key role in sunflower production, particularly in areas where rainfall is limited or inconsistent. Irrigation systems are used to provide water at critical stages of development. Too little water can reduce growth and seed production, while too much can create conditions that support disease. Farmers must balance these factors to maintain healthy crops. The sunflower responds to water availability by adjusting its growth and development. This responsiveness allows it to be grown in a range of environments. Careful management supports stable yields. Seed selection remains one of the most important factors in successful sunflower farming. Different varieties are chosen based on climate, soil conditions, and intended use. Some are developed to produce higher oil content, while others are selected for larger seeds used as food. Advances in plant breeding have improved the consistency and performance of these varieties. These improvements allow farmers to match the plant more closely to their conditions. The sunflower continues to evolve under human selection. This process supports efficiency and reliability. The role of sunflower production within global process continues to grow as demand for oil and food increases. Production is influenced by economic factors such as market demand, pricing, and availability of resources. Farmers make decisions based on these conditions, adjusting how much sunflower they grow and how it is managed. This creates variation in production levels from year to year. The sunflower becomes part of a system that responds not only to environmental conditions, but also to economic pressures. Its role extends beyond agriculture into wider systems of trade and supply. Processing also continues to develop as technology improves. Methods for extracting oil become more efficient, reducing waste and increasing output. Refining processes improve the quality and consistency of the final product. These changes support the sunflower's role in food production and other uses. The plant's value is linked to how effectively it can be processed and distributed. Improvements in these systems increase its importance within global markets. The sunflower becomes part of a network that connects production, processing, and consumption. Transportation plays a key role in moving sunflower products from farms to processing facilities and markets. Seeds and oil are transported over long distances, connecting regions of production with areas of demand. This movement requires process that maintain quality during transit. Proper handling and storage during transportation are essential to prevent loss or degradation. The sunflower becomes part of supply chains that operate across regions and countries. Its presence extends far beyond the fields where it is grown. This connection supports its role in global systems. As sunflower farming continues to develop, it reflects a balance between efficiency and adaptability. Farmers aim to produce high yields while responding to environmental and economic conditions. The plant supports this balance through its layout and growth patterns. It remains capable of adjusting to different conditions while maintaining consistent production. This combination allows it to remain a valuable crop. The sunflower continues to be shaped by both natural processes and human management. Its role in agriculture reflects this ongoing interaction. The full sequence of sunflower production shows how a single plant connects multiple stages, from planting and growth to processing and distribution. Each stage depends on the others to function effectively. The plant itself is only one part of a larger system that includes farmers, machinery, processing facilities, and markets. This system operates continuously, supporting the movement of sunflower products across different regions. The sunflower remains at the center of this system while being influenced by each part. Its role continues to expand as these systems evolve. This connection sets the stage for understanding the broader significance of the sunflower beyond its physical build and agricultural use. As sunflower production continues to develop, attention also turns toward maintaining long-term soil health and environmental stability. Farmers adjust their practices to ensure that the land remains productive across multiple growing cycles. This includes managing nutrient levels so that the soil continues to support plant growth without becoming depleted. The sunflower plays a role in these processes because of how its roots interact with the soil. Its growth pattern allows it to be included in rotations that support balance rather than continuous strain. This approach helps maintain productivity over time. The plant becomes part of a system designed for long-term use. The timing of planting and harvesting is carefully planned to match environmental conditions and maximize yield. Farmers consider temperature structures, seasonal changes, and soil readiness when deciding when to plant. This timing affects how well the plant establishes itself and how it develops throughout its life cycle. Harvest timing is also important, as it determines seed quality and storage potential. These decisions are based on observation and experience, as well as knowledge of how the plant responds to its environment. The sunflower fits into these planned systems because of its predictable growth pattern. This predictability supports consistent production. Advances in plant breeding continue to influence how sunflowers are grown and used. New varieties are developed to improve resistance to environmental stress, pests, and disease. These improvements allow the plant to shape more consistently under different conditions. Breeding also supports the development of varieties tailored to specific uses, such as higher oil content or improved seed size. These changes do not alter the basic form of the sunflower, but refine how it performs within agricultural systems. The plant continues to evolve through controlled selection. This process supports efficiency and reliability. In addition to improvements in the plant itself, farming practices continue to adapt to new technologies and methods. Monitoring systems allow farmers to track soil conditions, plant health, and environmental factors more precisely. This information supports better decision-making throughout the growing cycle. Adjustments can be made in response to changing conditions, improving overall outcomes. The sunflower responds to these management practices in the same way it responds to natural conditions. It remains a plant that adjusts to its environment. Technology allows these adjustments to be guided more effectively. The role of sunflower farming within global process continues to expand as demand for its products remains steady. Oil production, food use, and byproducts all contribute to its importance. The plant supports multiple industries, including agriculture, food processing, and distribution. Its presence within these systems reflects its versatility and efficiency. The sunflower remains a crop that can be used in different ways without losing its value. This flexibility supports its continued use across regions. It remains an important part of global production systems. Economic factors continue to influence how sunflower farming is carried out. Market demand, pricing, and resource availability all affect decisions made by farmers and producers. These factors determine how much land is used for sunflower production and how it is managed. The plant becomes part of a process that responds to both environmental and economic conditions. This creates variation in production from one season to the next. The sunflower remains stable in its arrangement while being part of a system that changes. Its role is shaped by both natural and human influences. The full sequence of sunflower production shows how a plant can be integrated into complex process while maintaining its biological function. From planting to harvesting, from processing to distribution, each stage connects to the next. The plant itself remains consistent, but the systems around it continue to develop. This connection between biology and agriculture defines the sunflower's role in the modern world. It is both a natural organism and a managed resource. Its continued use depends on how well these systems function together. The sunflower remains at the center of this interaction. Understanding sunflower farming at this level shows how it supports both local and global process. It provides food, oil, and materials that move through supply chains connecting different regions. The plant contributes to systems that extend far beyond the field where it is grown. Its development reflects the interaction between natural growth and human management. This interaction continues to shape how the sunflower is used and valued. The plant remains adaptable while supporting stable production. Its role continues to evolve as conditions change. The sunflower holds a place in human awareness that extends beyond its role as a crop. Its design, color, and form make it one of the most recognizable plants across different regions. People often notice it immediately, even without understanding how it functions or develops. This recognition comes from its strong visual presence, with a large central head and a clear outward pattern. The plant stands above surrounding vegetation, drawing attention through both height and color. This visibility has contributed to its continued presence in cultivated and natural environments. The sunflower becomes familiar even to those who have never studied it closely. In many settings, the sunflower is associated with sunlight because of its orientation and appearance. Its movement during early growth and its final position facing east connect it to daily patterns of light. This connection is often observed directly as the plant responds to the sun throughout its development. The bright yellow structures around the flower head reinforce this association. These visual features create a clear link between the plant and the idea of light. This connection is not symbolic alone, but grounded in how the plant grows and functions. The sunflower reflects its environment in a visible way. The consistent system of the sunflower also contributes to how it is perceived. The arrangement of seeds within the center creates a pattern that appears organized and balanced. This pattern can be observed without specialized tools, making it accessible to anyone who looks closely. The plant presents a form that feels structured and complete. This visual clarity makes it easier to recognize compared to plants with less defined shapes. The sunflower's layout supports both function and visibility. It becomes a plant that is both understood and recognized through observation. People grow sunflowers not only for their practical uses, but also for their presence within a space. The plant adds height, color, and build to fields and gardens. Its growth is visible over time, allowing people to observe changes from seed to full development. This progression creates a direct connection between the plant and the person growing it. Watching the plant develop provides a clear view of its life cycle. This experience contributes to how the sunflower is valued beyond its physical products. It becomes part of both agricultural and personal environments. The sunflower also appears in settings that are not directly connected to farming. It is used in landscapes, gardens, and managed spaces where its appearance is valued. In these settings, the plant is often arranged to maximize visual impact. Rows or groups of sunflowers create patterns that are visible from a distance. This use highlights the plant's structural consistency and strong visual form. The sunflower becomes part of designed environments as well as natural ones. Its presence extends beyond production into visual and spatial use. Beyond its appearance, the sunflower continues to contribute to processes that support life in different ways. Its seeds provide food for both humans and animals, while its form supports insect activity. These interactions connect the plant to multiple levels of the environment. The sunflower remains active within these systems, even when it is grown for specific purposes. It contributes to cycles of energy, movement, and interaction. This role extends beyond individual plants and into broader ecological and agricultural systems. The sunflower functions as part of a network rather than in isolation. The efficiency of the sunflower in producing seeds remains one of its most important characteristics. A single plant can generate a large number of seeds within one arrangement. This efficiency supports its use in both natural and managed environments. It allows the plant to reproduce effectively and maintain its presence across generations. This characteristic has been maintained throughout its development, from wild forms to cultivated varieties. The sunflower continues to rely on this ability. It remains central to how the plant functions and spreads. The relationship between the sunflower and human sequences continues to develop as conditions change. New methods of cultivation, processing, and distribution influence how the plant is used. These changes do not alter the basic design of the sunflower, but affect how it fits into larger systems. The plant responds to these conditions while maintaining its core characteristics. This balance allows it to remain relevant across different periods and regions. The sunflower continues to be shaped by both natural processes and human decisions. In addition to its practical and visual roles, the sunflower also provides a clear example of how process supports function in a biological system. Each part of the plant contributes to a specific role, and these roles are connected through coordinated processes. The roots, stem, leaves, and flower head work together to support growth and reproduction. This coordination allows the plant to operate efficiently. It also makes the sunflower a useful example for understanding how plants function more generally. Its layout can be observed directly, making it accessible for study and observation. The sunflower's ability to adapt while maintaining its identity is one of the reasons it remains widely used. It can grow in different environments, respond to changing conditions, and support a range of uses. At the same time, it retains the features that define it. This combination of adaptability and consistency allows it to remain stable across different systems. The sunflower continues to exist in both natural and managed environments. It remains a plant that connects these different contexts. As the sunflower continues to be grown and studied, it provides ongoing opportunities to observe how plants interact with their environment. Changes in climate, soil, and agricultural practices influence how it develops. These changes can be observed directly in how the plant grows and produces seeds. The sunflower becomes a point of reference for understanding these interactions. It reflects broader patterns within plant biology and agriculture. This makes it useful for both practical and observational purposes. The presence of the sunflower across different regions shows how a single plant can move through process and maintain its role. It begins in one environment and gradually expands into many others. Each new setting introduces different conditions, but the plant continues to function within them. This movement reflects the interaction between natural processes and human activity. The sunflower becomes part of systems that extend beyond its original environment. Its presence continues to grow as it is used in new ways. The build, function, and development of the sunflower all connect to form a complete system. From the initial seed to the mature plant, each stage contributes to its overall role. The plant grows, produces seeds, and continues the cycle through new generations. This process is consistent across different environments and uses. The sunflower remains defined by this cycle. It continues to operate through the same patterns that have shaped it over time. Understanding the sunflower in this way brings together all the elements that define it: its origins, its spread, its shape, its life cycle, and its role within eco-process and agriculture all contribute to a complete picture. The plant is not defined by a single feature, but by the interaction of all these elements. Each part connects to the others, forming a system that is both stable and adaptable. The sunflower remains a clear example of how a plant can function within multiple systems at once. The sunflower also provides a useful way to observe how structures appear in natural process without requiring specialized tools or detailed measurement. The pattern of seeds within the flower head can be seen clearly with the eye, revealing a structured pattern that repeats across many plants. This pattern reflects how growth is organized at a small scale, where each new seed is positioned in relation to the ones around it. The result is a surface that appears ordered while still allowing for continuous development. This combination of arrangement and flexibility is a common feature in biological systems. The sunflower presents this pattern in a visible and accessible form. It allows observation without complexity. In different environments, the sunflower can show variation in how quickly it grows and how large it becomes. These differences are influenced by factors such as temperature, water availability, and soil conditions. In warmer climates with consistent sunlight, growth may occur more rapidly and lead to larger plants. In cooler or less stable environments, development may be slower or more limited. These changes do not alter the fundamental design of the plant, but influence how it expresses that system. The sunflower adjusts to these conditions while maintaining its overall form. This ability supports its presence across a wide range of environments. The plant also demonstrates how energy is managed over time within a living system. Early in its growth, energy is directed toward building layout, including the stem and leaves. As development continues, energy shifts toward the formation of the flower head and the production of seeds. This change reflects a transition from growth to reproduction. The plant balances these processes based on available resources and environmental conditions. If resources are limited, adjustments are made to maintain function. This ability to shift energy use supports survival. It allows the plant to complete its life cycle under different conditions. Sunflowers can also influence the space around them through their physical presence. Their height and leaf build can affect how light reaches other plants nearby. In some cases, this can reduce the growth of surrounding vegetation by limiting access to sunlight. At the same time, the presence of sunflowers can attract insects that move between different plants in the area. This creates a network of interaction that extends beyond a single plant. The sunflower becomes part of a shared environment where multiple factors influence growth and activity. Its presence changes the conditions within that space. The seeds produced by sunflowers also contribute to process beyond immediate growth and reproduction. When seeds are used as food, they become part of energy transfer within larger biological systems. Animals that consume the seeds use that energy to support their own activity. When seeds are planted, they continue the life cycle of the plant. When processed for oil, they contribute to human systems of food production. Each of these pathways represents a different way the plant connects to broader systems. The sunflower supports movement of energy through multiple channels. It remains active even after the original plant completes its cycle. In agricultural environments, the presence of sunflowers can also support observation and planning. Farmers use the plant's development as an indicator of environmental conditions. Changes in growth, leaf color, or shape can reflect differences in soil or water availability. This makes it possible for adjustments to be made during the growing cycle. The sunflower becomes a reference point for understanding conditions in the field. Its responses provide information that supports decision-making. This role connects the plant to systems of observation as well as production. The continued use of the sunflower across different regions shows how a plant can remain relevant over time while adapting to changing conditions. New methods of cultivation, processing, and distribution continue to influence how it is used. At the same time, the plant maintains the features that define it. This balance allows it to remain stable while supporting new uses. The sunflower continues to be shaped by both natural processes and human activity. Its presence reflects ongoing interaction between these systems. It remains part of a process that does not stop. The sunflower also provides an example of how visible pattern can reflect underlying sequences that are not immediately seen. The arrangement of seeds, the growth of the stem, and the development of the flower head all result from internal process that regulate how the plant functions. These systems operate continuously, responding to both internal signals and external conditions. The visible form of the sunflower reflects these processes. It provides a way to observe outcomes without directly seeing the mechanisms behind them. This connection between design and process is a key feature of living systems. Across its entire development, the sunflower shows how a plant can connect multiple processes into one continuous process. It links soil, water, sunlight, insects, animals, and human activity through its growth and reproduction. Each of these elements contributes to how the plant functions and how it is used. The sunflower does not operate separately from these systems. It exists within them and responds to them at every stage. This interaction defines its role and supports its continued presence. The plant remains part of a network that extends beyond itself. As the sunflower continues to be grown, observed, and used, it remains a clear example of how process, function, and environment interact. Its development follows a sequence that connects each stage to the next. Its presence within different systems reflects its ability to adapt while maintaining consistency. The sunflower continues to exist across different environments and uses without losing its identity. It remains a plant that is both simple to recognize and complex in how it operates. This combination allows it to remain relevant and widely used. Over long periods of time, the sunflower becomes a plant that people recognize not only for its layout, but for its consistency across different environments. It appears in fields, gardens, and open landscapes where conditions support its growth. This repeated presence allows people to become familiar with how it develops and changes over time. The plant does not require specialized knowledge to be observed. Its growth is visible and follows a pattern that can be understood through direct experience. This accessibility makes it a plant that can be recognized and understood without formal study. The sunflower becomes part of everyday observation. In many environments, the sunflower marks seasonal change through its development. Its growth begins under specific conditions and progresses in a way that reflects shifts in temperature, light, and water availability. People can observe these changes by watching how the plant moves from early growth to full maturity. This progression provides a clear example of how plants respond to seasonal cycles. The sunflower becomes part of a broader pattern that includes other plants and environmental changes. Its presence reflects the timing of natural systems. This connection allows it to serve as a visible indicator of environmental conditions. The continued use of the sunflower across generations also reflects how knowledge is passed over time. People learn how to grow, observe, and use the plant through repeated experience. This knowledge is shared and adapted as conditions change. The sunflower remains part of these processes because of its reliability and consistency. It becomes a plant that supports both practical use and understanding. Its presence allows knowledge to be maintained and developed across different contexts. This connection links the plant to both natural systems and human activity over time. In managed environments, the sunflower contributes to spaces that are designed for both function and observation. Fields of sunflowers create patterns that can be seen across large areas, while individual plants provide detailed points of interest. This combination allows the plant to operate at different scales. It can be observed from a distance as part of a larger system, or examined closely to understand its build. The sunflower supports both types of observation. This flexibility contributes to its continued presence in different environments. It remains a plant that can be approached in multiple ways. The relationship between the sunflower and its environment continues even after the plant has completed its life cycle. The seeds that remain in the environment may become part of future growth, while others are used within different process. The plant's form breaks down and returns to the soil, contributing to nutrient cycles that support future plants. This process connects the sunflower to ongoing environmental systems. It does not end with the completion of seed production. The plant remains part of a cycle that continues beyond its visible presence. This connection supports continuity. The sunflower also reflects how a plant can remain consistent while existing within changing conditions. Environments shift over time due to natural and human influences, yet the sunflower continues to grow and function within these systems. Its ability to adapt while maintaining its arrangement allows it to remain stable across different conditions. This stability contributes to its continued use and recognition. The plant remains both familiar and responsive. It reflects the interaction between consistency and change. This balance supports its long-term presence. Across all of these interactions, the sunflower continues to operate as part of a process that includes growth, reproduction, and connection to its surroundings. Each stage of its development contributes to this system. The plant does not function independently, but through relationships with other elements. These relationships define how it grows, how it produces seeds, and how it continues across generations. The sunflower remains part of this network throughout its existence. It reflects how living systems operate through connection. The sunflower also provides a way to observe how stability can exist within constant change. At each stage of its development, the plant adjusts to conditions that are never exactly the same from one moment to the next. Light levels shift throughout the day, temperature changes across time, and water availability varies depending on the environment. The plant responds to all of these factors while continuing to grow and develop in a consistent pattern. This ability to maintain direction while adapting to change is a defining feature of the sunflower. It does not follow a rigid path, but adjusts within a structured system. This balance allows it to remain stable without being fixed. When observed over longer periods, the sunflower shows how growth is not a single continuous motion, but a series of adjustments that build on each other. Each stage prepares the plant for the next, creating a sequence that supports both development and reproduction. The plant does not skip steps or move randomly between stages. Instead, it follows a progression that reflects both its internal design and the conditions around it. This progression can be seen clearly when the plant is observed from seed to maturity. The sunflower becomes a visible example of how development occurs over time. It shows how system supports change. The presence of the sunflower across different environments also highlights how a plant can maintain its identity while responding to variation. Differences in climate, soil, and surrounding vegetation influence how the plant grows, but they do not change its fundamental layout. The same basic pattern appears whether the plant is growing in one region or another. This consistency allows the sunflower to be recognized regardless of location. It also supports its continued use in different systems. The plant adapts without losing the features that define it. This balance contributes to its stability. The interaction between the sunflower and other living organisms continues to shape how it exists within its environment. Insects move across its surface, animals interact with its seeds, and microorganisms influence its growth below the soil. These interactions create a network of activity that surrounds the plant. The sunflower remains part of this network throughout its life cycle. It does not function separately from these influences. Instead, it responds to them while continuing its development. This connection reinforces its role within a larger system. Over time, repeated observation of the sunflower reveals structures that extend beyond a single plant. Fields of sunflowers show how individual plants follow the same build while forming a larger pattern across the landscape. Each plant contributes to a system that can be observed at a broader scale. This creates a connection between individual growth and collective presence. The sunflower becomes both a single organism and part of a larger arrangement. This dual role supports its visibility and its function. It exists at multiple levels within its environment. The continued presence of the sunflower in different processes reflects how a plant can remain relevant across changing conditions. As environments shift and human practices evolve, the sunflower continues to be used and observed. Its form allows it to fit into new systems without losing its core characteristics. This adaptability supports its long-term presence. The plant remains consistent while responding to change. It continues to function within systems that are not fixed. This ongoing interaction defines its role. The sunflower also demonstrates how energy moves through a process in a way that connects different stages of development. Energy captured by the leaves supports growth, which leads to the formation of the flower head and the production of seeds. These seeds then carry energy into the next generation or into other systems through consumption or use. This movement of energy links the plant to cycles that extend beyond its own lifespan. The sunflower becomes part of a larger pattern of energy transfer. This connection supports its continued role within both natural and human systems. As all of these elements come together, the sunflower represents a complete process that can be observed directly. Its arrangement, development, interactions, and uses all connect to form a unified process. The plant does not rely on a single feature, but on the coordination of many parts. This coordination allows it to function effectively across different environments and conditions. The sunflower remains both accessible and complex at the same time. It provides a clear example of how a plant operates within a larger system. This understanding brings together all the elements that define it. The sunflower also provides a way to observe how repetition and consistency contribute to stability in natural process. Each new plant follows a similar pattern of development, beginning with a seed and progressing through stages that support growth and reproduction. This repetition allows the plant to remain stable across generations, even as conditions change. The way it forms does not need to be redesigned each time. Instead, it is carried forward through a system that maintains its form. This consistency supports the continued presence of the sunflower across different environments. It reflects how stability can be maintained through repeated patterns. When viewed across larger landscapes, the presence of multiple sunflowers creates a pattern that extends beyond individual plants. Fields filled with sunflowers show how a single process can be repeated many times to form a larger system. Each plant contributes to this pattern while functioning independently. This combination allows the system to remain stable even if individual plants are affected by changing conditions. The sunflower becomes part of a collective presence that reflects both individual and group behavior. This relationship supports resilience within the system. It allows the plant to exist across varying conditions. The sunflower also demonstrates how sequences that are not immediately visible can shape what is seen on the surface. Growth, development, and energy movement all occur through processes that operate internally. These processes influence how the plant appears and how it functions over time. The visible layout reflects these underlying systems. By observing the plant, it is possible to understand how these processes work together. The sunflower provides a clear example of how internal systems produce external form. This connection supports understanding of biological function. As the sunflower completes its development, the processes that support its growth continue to influence what remains after the plant has matured. Seeds carry the build and function of the plant into the next generation. The plant's interaction with its environment leaves an effect on the soil and surrounding systems. These outcomes continue beyond the visible life of the plant. The sunflower does not simply end at maturity. Its presence continues through what it produces and how it influences its surroundings. This continuation connects one stage to the next. The ability of the sunflower to remain consistent while operating within changing conditions reflects a broader pattern seen in living process. Stability is maintained not by avoiding change but by adjusting to it. The plant responds to its environment in ways that allow it to continue functioning. This response supports its ability to grow, reproduce, and persist across different conditions. The sunflower reflects how living systems maintain balance through adaptation. This balance allows it to remain active within a dynamic environment. The continued observation of the sunflower reveals how multiple sequences can operate together without conflict. Growth, reproduction, interaction with other organisms, and response to the environment all occur at the same time. These processes do not compete, but work together to support the plant's function. The sunflower integrates these systems into a single process that can be observed directly. This integration allows it to operate efficiently across different stages of its life cycle. It remains stable while managing multiple demands. The sunflower's presence across different regions and process reflects its ability to maintain its role while adapting to new conditions. It continues to be used, observed, and grown in environments that differ from where it first developed. This movement does not change its fundamental form, but allows it to exist in new contexts. The sunflower remains both consistent and adaptable. This combination supports its long-term presence across different systems. It continues to function within environments that are not fixed. As all of these elements come together, the sunflower remains a clear example of how a plant can connect arrangement, function, and environment into a single process. Its development, interactions, and uses all contribute to a complete process that can be observed and understood. The plant does not rely on one feature, but on the coordination of many parts. This coordination supports its ability to grow and reproduce across different conditions. The sunflower continues to exist as part of a network that extends beyond itself. This connection defines its role within both natural and human systems. The sunflower also illustrates how a single design can support multiple roles at the same time without conflict. While the plant is producing seeds, it is also interacting with insects, responding to environmental conditions, and maintaining its internal sequences. These processes occur together rather than in isolation. The plant does not separate growth from interaction or reproduction from response. Instead, all of these functions are integrated into a single system that operates continuously. This integration allows the sunflower to remain efficient across different stages of its development. It shows how multiple processes can be coordinated within one system. The visibility of the sunflower makes it possible to observe these processes without interruption. Unlike processes that require detailed measurement or specialized tools to understand, the sunflower presents its development openly. Changes in layout, movement, and form can be seen as they happen. This makes it possible for observation over time, rather than relying on isolated moments. The plant provides a continuous example of how development progresses. This continuity supports a clearer understanding of how living systems operate. The sunflower becomes a reference point for observing change. The plant also demonstrates how timing influences the outcome of biological processes. Each stage of development occurs within a specific window, and the success of that stage depends on how well conditions align with it. If pollination occurs during the correct period, seed production increases. If environmental conditions support growth during early stages, the plant becomes stronger and more stable. These timing relationships connect each stage to the next. The sunflower reflects how timing and build work together to support development. This coordination influences the overall success of the plant. The interaction between the sunflower and its environment also highlights how external conditions shape internal processes. Light, temperature, and water availability all influence how the plant grows and develops. These factors do not act separately, but combine to create the conditions in which the plant operates. The sunflower responds to these combined influences rather than to any single factor. This response allows it to adjust while maintaining its form. The plant remains active within a system that is constantly changing. This interaction defines how it functions over time. The continued presence of the sunflower across different environments shows how a plant can maintain its function while adapting to variation. It grows in regions with different climates, soils, and surrounding ecosystems. In each case, the plant responds to local conditions while maintaining its defining characteristics. This ability supports its continued use and recognition. The sunflower does not need to be redesigned for each environment. Instead, it adjusts within a stable framework. This balance allows it to exist across a wide range of conditions. The arrangement of the sunflower also supports its ability to remain consistent across generations. Each seed contains the information needed to produce a new plant with the same basic characteristics. When conditions support growth, the cycle begins again with a similar design and pattern. This repetition allows the plant to maintain its identity over time. It also supports the continued presence of the sunflower across different environments. The plant remains part of a process that carries its system forward. This continuity defines its long-term existence. When observed over multiple cycles, the sunflower shows how repetition builds familiarity. People recognize the plant because its layout and development remain consistent. This familiarity allows it to be identified quickly and understood through observation. The plant becomes part of a shared experience that extends across different regions and contexts. This recognition is based on repeated exposure rather than formal study. The sunflower remains accessible while still being complex in how it operates. This combination contributes to its continued presence. The sunflower also reflects how individual components can contribute to a larger process without losing their function. Each small flower within the head operates as part of a collective build, yet each still plays a role in reproduction. This arrangement allows the plant to combine many units into one functional system. The same pattern can be seen at larger scales, where individual plants form fields that operate as part of agricultural systems. This repetition across scales supports both function and stability. The sunflower demonstrates how systems can be built from smaller parts. As all of these elements continue to operate together, the sunflower remains part of a sequence that does not stop with a single cycle. Its presence extends across time through repeated growth and reproduction. Each generation carries forward the form and function that define the plant. This continuity connects past, present, and future development. The sunflower remains part of a process that continues beyond any single plant. This ongoing process reflects how living systems persist over time. The combination of arrangement, timing, interaction, and repetition creates a complete process that can be observed directly through the sunflower. Each part contributes to how the plant grows, functions, and continues across generations. The plant does not rely on a single feature, but on the coordination of many processes. This coordination allows it to remain stable while adapting to change. The sunflower continues to exist within a network of conditions and interactions. This network supports its continued presence across different environments. It remains a clear example of how a plant operates within a larger system. As the sunflower completes its cycle, and the sequences that support it continue to operate, the plant remains part of a process that extends beyond a single moment. Its development reflects a sequence that connects design, function, and environment into one continuous system. Each stage leads into the next without interruption, forming a pattern that repeats across time. This repetition does not reduce its complexity, but reinforces how the system maintains itself. The sunflower continues to exist through this process rather than as a single event. It remains part of something ongoing. This continuity defines how it is understood. When viewed in its entirety, the sunflower brings together all of the elements that have shaped it. Its origins, its spread, its process, its development, and its role within larger systems all connect to form a complete picture. None of these elements stand alone. Each contributes to how the plant functions and how it continues across generations. The sunflower is defined by this combination rather than by any single feature. This integration allows it to remain stable while adapting to different conditions. It continues to operate within both natural and human systems. The presence of the sunflower across different environments shows how a plant can remain consistent while responding to change. It grows under varying conditions, yet maintains the layout that defines it. This balance supports its continued use and recognition. The plant does not require constant adjustment to remain relevant. Instead, it adapts within a stable framework that supports its function. This ability allows it to exist across different regions and systems. The sunflower remains both consistent and responsive. As observation continues, the sunflower provides a clear example of how living sequences operate through connection and coordination. Each part of the plant contributes to a larger process that supports growth and reproduction. These processes do not occur in isolation, but through interaction with surrounding conditions. The sunflower reflects how these interactions shape development over time. It remains part of a system that includes both internal and external influences. This connection defines its role within the environment. it continues to function within this network. Over time, the repeated presence of the sunflower reinforces how structures can remain stable across generations. Each new plant follows the same basic build while responding to different conditions. This repetition allows the plant to persist without losing its identity. The sunflower becomes a consistent reference within changing environments. It reflects how systems can maintain form while adapting to variation. This balance supports long-term stability. The plant continues to exist through this pattern. The sunflower also shows how simplicity in appearance can reflect complexity in function. What appears to be a single flower is supported by many interconnected sequences. These processes work together to support growth, reproduction, and interaction with the environment. The visible arrangement represents the outcome of these systems. The plant provides a clear example of how complexity can be organized into a form that is easy to recognize. This combination contributes to its continued presence. It remains both accessible and detailed. As the cycle continues and new plants emerge from the seeds produced, the sunflower maintains its place within the process that supports it. It remains connected to soil, light, water, and the organisms that interact with it. These connections continue across each stage of development. The plant does not exist separately from these systems, but as part of them. This relationship supports its continued growth and reproduction. The sunflower remains part of an ongoing process that does not end with a single plant. Thank you for listening to the Sleepy Mind channel. I hope you enjoyed learning about the sunflower